Today, we're jumping into an ancient story that feels surprisingly modern, the Book of Joel. Honestly, it's structured like a three-act blockbuster, starting with a terrifying disaster, moving to a call for some radical change, and ending with this epic vision of judgment and renewal. So let's get into it. Right out of the gate, the story just drops you into the middle of the chaos. I mean, listen to that sentence. There's no build-up, no warning. It's not just an attack. It's a complete systematic annihilation. And that's where we start, in the middle of an absolute nightmare. So, Act 1, a land completely devoured. And we're not talking about just a bad harvest here. This is the total collapse of an ecosystem, and right along with it, the collapse of a whole society. You're meant to feel the sheer scale of this loss, and it is gut-wrenching. And look at how relentless this is. It isn't just one swarm of bugs. No, it's 4 different waves, one after the other, each one cleaning up whatever the last one might have missed. It's this methodical, inescapable process that makes sure absolutely nothing is left. And you can just see the dominoes start to fall, right? First, the vine, a huge symbol of prosperity and joy, is just gone. And if the vine is gone, well, so is the wine. The thing that's central to celebrations and religious life, it's just cut off. You can feel the very fabric of society starting to tear. And then it hits a whole new level. This is no longer just a human problem. The pastures are gone, the water's dried up, and even the animals are suffering. The entire world, it seems, is in agony. Okay, and this is where the story takes a huge pivot. The book basically says, you think this is bad? This plague, this physical disaster is really just a preview, a sign of something much bigger and way more terrifying called the Day of the Lord. Those locusts, they're not just pests, they're an army. I mean, just look at this contrast. The author paints this brutal picture of their impact. In front of this army, the land is like a paradise, the Garden of Eden. But behind them, nothing, just a barren, empty wilderness. And get this. These are not your garden variety insects. No way. The description is totally supernatural. They look like war horses, they sound like an army of chariots, and they move with this terrifying military precision, breaking through walls and sneaking into houses like thieves. And just when you think it couldn't possibly get any worse, it goes cosmic. The swarm is so thick, it literally blocks out the sun and the moon. The entire natural order of the universe is being turned upside down, which tells you this isn't just some local disaster anymore. This is a moment of universal judgment. Which, of course, brings us to the central question of the whole story. After all that, in the face of this kind of overwhelming, terrible power, what can you possibly do? Who could survive this? And that question just hangs in the air, setting us up for a huge turning point. And here's the answer, but it's probably not what you'd expect. The solution isn't to fight back or build bigger walls. The answer is something completely internal. It's a call to change what's on the inside, not fight what's on the outside. And this right here, this is the core of the whole message. You see, tearing your clothes was the traditional way to show you were grieving. It was an outward sign. But the call here is to go deeper. Rend your heart. It's about being genuinely, sincerely changed, not just putting on a show. And this response has to be total. It's an emergency broadcast. A trumpet sounds the alarm, a fast is called, and everyone, and I mean literally everyone, from the elders down to infants, even newlyweds are pulled from their wedding celebration, has to gather. Nobody gets a pass. And what happens when the whole community does this? Well, you get this incredible plot twist. Their genuine repentance is met with a promise of total restoration. The devastation, all of it, is about to be undone. And I love this part because the restoration isn't just some vague things will get better promise. Oh no, the text goes right down the list and it specifically mirrors the destruction. Every single thing that was taken, the grain, the wine, the oil, the fruit, is promised back. Even the rains will return. But then we get to this line, and honestly, it's one of the most powerful promises you'll find anywhere. Because it's not just about restoring the crops, it's a promise to restore the years that the locust ate. Think about that. The lost time, the trauma, the setback, it's a promise to heal the wound itself. And if that wasn't enough, the promise goes even deeper. It moves from the physical world to the spiritual. A promise that God's Spirit will be poured out on everyone, sons and daughters, old and young. The community won't just be fed, They'll be transformed from the inside out.
So the land is healed, the spirit is promised. You'd think we're done, right? Nope. The camera pulls way, way back for the grand finale. The focus zooms out from this one nation story to a final epic judgment for all the nations of the world.
And just listen to this command. It's this shocking, chilling reversal of that famous prophecy about turning swords into plowshares. Here, it's the exact opposite. Farming tools are supposed to be turned into weapons. It's a call to arms for one last, decisive confrontation. So the stage is set for this final showdown. All the world's nations are called to this symbolic place, the Valley of Jehoshaphat, and that name basically translates to the valley where God judges. This is where everything is finally going to be settled. And this is the final, thunderous image we're left with. Just huge crowds, multitudes packed into this valley. And notice the valley gets a new name here, the Valley of Decision. A choice is being made, the final one, and the moment of truth has arrived. So that's where the book leaves us, from a plague of locusts all the way to a cosmic courtroom. The entire story boils down to this one moment. It all started with a crisis that forced a choice. Do you just suffer through it, or do you turn inward and fundamentally change? And in the end, it poses that same question to all of us, suggesting that maybe it's how we respond to our own valley of decision that truly defines who we are.